So Dee, we're here at the Bonnie Doon Champions Lounge, which is an interactive indoor facility, which is so great that you can come and pay by the hour and use it. We thought because the weather's a bit lousy today, we were going to do some indoor tips. And we wanted to talk about some of the options you have for gripping the putter, because we get asked that a lot, you know, how am I supposed to grip the putter? Is there one grip? Is there a number that we can choose from? Jordan Spieth, for example, putts with his left hand low. A lot of the others have the forefinger down. So what are our options for putting?
Well, I think there are three. There's many different types of grips, but I think the three most popular, I use the same grip I've used ever since I played golf.
But Dee's a very good putter.
Thank you, Annie.
And I think sometimes as you get older and you get more nervy, that's when you want to start changing, don't you?
So you were telling me earlier that you've changed because as you've got a little wiser with the years, you've just changed your putting stroke to left-hand low.
Grip,
So the one I'm going to show to start with, and then you can show the one you use. So the one I always use, reverse overlap.
And that's probably the most commonly used putting grip, and one that we would recommend, I think.
Yes, so if I move closer, does that help with the grip?
Yes.
So with the reverse overlap, you can see what I've got happening here. The forefinger of my left hand goes over the top. But what I use is I like a straight face going through. They call it the piston action. So if you look here, I'll do it with my hands here. My hands are more under, so both hands are more under.
Why do we do that?
Well, I have the hands under, I hinge them down a little bit. So what it does, it stops the excessive wrist action. It allows me to do putter face straight back, straight through it rather than
don't want wrist action. You don't want wrist action when you're putting.
So even with mine, if you can see, I'll try to move in really close. You can see my thumb, my right thumb is at the side, and even so I don't have my thumbs down the middle, I have them slightly at the side, and both hands are under. So you can see both hands are under here, but I've still got the reverse overlap.
That's right, and the reason that left forefinger comes out with the putting grip is because it restricts your ability to get too wristy on the left side. That's how that developed, because you don't want a lot of wrist action when you're putting.
So this, I call it the piston action. So it's back and forward. But see how whereas if my hands get a bit more on top, I've got more chance of this
getting too wristy. Okay, so that's this with a little bit open with the hands just to really restrict your ability to get wristy.
Thumbs at the side.
And then the shoulders have to do the work, which is what we want when we're putting. We want the shoulders to do the work and not the hands and the wrists.
I have a little saying which I use in my when I'm doing some clinics and putting. I go the travelling buddies. So for short putts, I feel the end of the club and the club head are travelling buddies
together.
Together.
So in other words, this doesn't stay still and that move. I like that. That's good.
So you don't want to leave your travelling buddies standing on the station. You want it to hop in the train and go with you.
Together. And the way you get that happening is the shoulders doing the work and not the hands and wrists. Because when you get too wristy, you lose your ability to judge distance and often direction as well. So if you find that you're forever long or short, it could be that you're too wristy. So this grip that Dennise is talking about with slightly opened hands restricts your ability to get wristy and gets the shoulders doing the work.
And the other thing that it does, which I think is really important, which we tend to forget about with putting you still need to compress the ball. You still need to be having it pushing forward rather than pulling back, pulling through. So it's more of a pushing action.
Pushing and getting it rolling.
Getting it rolling,
that's
exactly.
Right. Okay.
Now tell me about since your...
Yes,
so what do you do now?
I had that grip that Dennise is talking about, not so much the open, maybe that's what I needed. I was a bit more this way with the, and I was a good putter, but once I started to get a little bit older and a bit more nervy, which a lot of people do.
And not practising or playing.
And not practising, exactly. So I then went the left hand low. Now, do you have, I found that really good because it sort of firms you up, and just that change stopped me sort of thinking too much about it. So that was really successful for me. Do you have, Dee, anything in particular that you like to teach people for the left hand low?
Yeah, with the left hand low, you do it now. So the reason I really like the left hand low is it keeps the club between the forearms. Can you see that? Whereas the other way, the shaft gets out. But most importantly, it keeps this hand from collapsing down. See how it's more of a pushing action through
rather than this.
Exactly. So it tends to stop the flick.
And also this fur is firm too. So the two together
works.
And are nice and firm.
The other huge thing about them is when you're using left hand left hand low, your shoulders are more horizontal, whereas this way,
Yes.
so it tends to make
Other
the
than this.
shoulder movement.
Excellent, yeah.
But I have found, Annie, from people who do it a lot, they use the left hand low for shorter putts, but once they get to longer putts, they tend to lose the feel a little bit. And I notice sometimes when you've got a long putt, when we were playing, it's harder for you to get the speed going.
Yeah. So would you recommend going back to the?
I would.
Okay.
That's my recommendation for a longer putt.
Go back to the other one.
Go back to the
But
other
how
one.
do you know when to swap? You just feel when you're comfortable.
No, I would say anything under, like over 8 metres. Go back to that.
Okay. In terms of how you actually hold it left hand low, do you have any rules, or can it just be all your feet?
It can be the baseball grip, or you can do the reverse overlap. What
this
do
way.
you do?
I just have like a 10-finger baseball.
I love the 10-finger as well.
And
by
then
the way.
my thumb is sort of tucked in to the lifeline of the left hand. It's just whatever's comfortable. There's not as many rules with the left hand low because it's a newer grip.
And it also helps you just to be able to keep that putter face square. Takes a bit of the jitters out, which is really important on those short putts.
So would we say they're our best two options? We don't want to confuse you too much.
Yeah, so they're the options. I think there was that third one that you used to use when you're on tour, which was the reverse overlap, but your hands were more to clap together this way, so it was more that than
so
under.
so it's the reverse overlap, but it's not so much under, more together.
So this was you on tour.
This was me on tour. Yep.
This was me on tour, and still now a good putter. And then we've got the
left hand low. That's it. So try which one that you like the feel of.
But please give it more than 1 or 2 chances.
And don't try it in the middle of the comp either, whatever you do.
Get out on your putting green.
Do some practice with it. Get it at home on the carpet. Find out what feels comfortable to you. But the key is we don't want too much wristiness. So these grips are designed to get you using your shoulders and not your hands.
I've got a funny story. My son this Christmas, guess what he gave me as one of my Christmas presents?
Putter?
No, he didn't give me a putter. I've had the same putter since 1991. He gave me one of those putting things that throws the ball back at me.
Okay.
I was like, thanks, Sam. You're so good. That's cute. It was cute. It was so gorgeous. He gave, what does Mum need?
I've got to love it. All right, well, good luck with your putting grips. Let us know if you've got any questions. Bye.